Okay, it looks like it's
Okay, maybe we've got everybody back. All right, I'll go back to sharing my screen here. Sorry about that, everyone. Bear with me here. All right, like I was saying, my name is Brooke Hoosier, and I'm the Associate Director of Admissions, and I'm really glad you joined me. So tonight, we're going to go over just a few kind of bullets about Ball State, talk about Ball State, finish with our admissions requirements, since I know that's really pertinent to most juniors and seniors. But before we get too far in, I am going to show a quick video that'll introduce you to Ball State.
The quest for knowledge and a greater understanding is a lifelong pursuit. An ascent towards a fulfilling career and a meaningful life. As Ball State Cardinals, we learned early on that it's our responsibility to prepare and to prepare you for anything. Beneficence stands tall as a symbol of enduring values that have sustained us for more than a century. Forged during a turbulent time, the Great Depression, and from the contributions of more than 11,000 people, beneficence inspires us. What we know about adversity is that we do not choose the time, but we do choose the response with grit, creativity, and dedication. Where tradition meets innovation, we form an enduring partnership, a formidable alliance with a deep desire to learn, to teach, to grow, to thrive, to fly. The values of Ball State University embody a wealth of opportunity, a powerful bond among faculty, staff, students, and alumni, and a bright future that includes you. Our intellect and experiences fuel our purpose and our capacity to serve our neighbors. Your journey begins now. We will remember this time for the opportunities we seized, the discoveries we made, and the lives we transformed. At Ball State University, with beneficence as our guide, we fly.
All right, so if you're not familiar with Ball State, I'll give you a few fast facts. As the video explained, we were founded by a family called the Ball family. They saw the need for a university in Muncie. We did have a teachers training college in Muncie, but it wasn't really performing well. They thought it could be so much more, so they bought the land, they bought the building, and they gifted it to the state of Indiana. That's how we became a public university. So we've definitely grown beyond our roots. We now have about 22,500 students, so we're considered a mid-sized university. We have 120 undergraduate majors with 7 academic colleges and are 790 acres in size. And for those of you that are seniors this year, in some ways you're actually in luck, I suppose, because we have a lot of construction going on campus right now. But by the time that you hopefully enroll at Ball State next fall, all of it's going to be completed. So right now we're working on a foundational sciences building, so all new lab spaces for our programs like chemistry and biology, that type of thing. We also have a new multicultural center that's going up at the heart of campus, as well as a new residence hall. So of course you're coming to college for one reason, and that's to get that degree. And we have a lot of options for you. So like I said, we have 7 different academic colleges. Ball State has reputable and nationally ranked programs in areas like education, telecommunications and journalism, business, architecture, and health sciences, and performing arts. But there's a lot more to Ball State than just those areas. we have 120 undergraduate majors total. So even if you have a major in mind, I'd really suggest checking out the full list of majors that we do have on our website, because you may find that there's some majors that we offer that you may not have even heard of before. So things like residential property management, hearing impaired and deaf education, glass art blowing. Those are some pretty unique majors that we find that Ball State offers that not a lot of other schools do. A great way to really tailor what it is you want to do and study is to add on a minor. So sometimes a minor can really help you towards a specific career path. For instance, one of our interns this year, he's majoring in aquatic biology because he knows he wants to work with marine wildlife in the future. So he's also gotten his minor in scuba diving because he knows that's a skill set that he'll need. Alternatively, sometimes a minor can be just something that you really enjoy, and it's almost like an outlet for you. One of our tour guides is majoring in public relations, but her minor is in theater because she loves to perform, even though she knows that's not something that she's going to pursue as a career. So check out the full list and see what some options are that might interest you. If you are undecided right now, please take a deep breath. It's really hard to know what it is you want to do and study when you're 17 or 18 years old. We have a pathway called exploratory studies that students can indicate on their application that they'd like to pursue. And what that means is that when you're coming in as exploratory studies, it means you're undecided. You don't know just yet. So you'll work with your academic advisor as well as our career center on helping you find what major is a good fit for you. Exploratory studies students are just as likely to earn scholarships or be accepted to the honors college. So there's nothing that's detrimental about coming to Ball State as an exploratory studies student. And then finally, we do have 25 of our bachelor's degrees that are called Degree in 3 programs. So that means they're done at an accelerated rate, and their students can complete them in 3 years instead of your traditional 4. It's the same courses though, it's just done at a faster pace. So it definitely provides some additional academic challenges, but it can be really beneficial to families that are looking at cost as a concern, or maybe students that are wanting to pursue grad school, so they're just trying to get a head start on their degree. So something that we think that makes Ball State pretty unique are our immersive learning opportunities. Our students participate in things like clinicals, practicums, teaching observations, those same kind of out of classroom, hands-on experiences that you hear about at other colleges. Our students do those, but they also do something additionally called immersive learning projects. So the idea behind an immersive learning project is that you are earning credit. So it's done during the academic year. You are working with a faculty mentor, and you're working with students in your major and maybe outside of your major. And I know this is all kind of vague, but the idea behind it is that somebody has, usually what it is somebody has come to Ball State with a problem, and they're asking Ball State students to find a solution. So to illustrate that, one of the recent examples is of a non-for-profit in downtown Muncie that they offer things like dance lessons, music lessons for low-income families, because those can be really expensive extracurricular options. So they have a route then for students to take advantage of those types of things. Anyways, they found, of course, that their bathroom was not compliant with the Americans with Disabilities Act. So they were not wheelchair accessible. That was a huge problem. So they consulted Ball State, asked for our students' help, and students were assigned to this immersive learning project. And it was predominantly architecture and interior design students, but they designed new bathrooms, and then those bathrooms were implemented. So it was so critical that students did a good job, because now that's that hands-on experience that they can put on their resume that's helpful when they're looking for a job. But maybe more importantly, it's now the facilities for that organization. So that's a huge deal. Another example, our TCOM students, our telecommunication students, they always have covered the Olympic Games, but this past games, when they went to South Korea, they actually got official media press badges. So they were able to actually film the games themselves. And so the game footage that was shown in our Chicago and our Indy News affiliate stations was actually filmed by Ball State students. We've been doing immersive learning projects for about nearly 15 years at this point, so we're pretty good at them, but there are thousands of examples on our website. So regardless of which major it is that you end up going with, you're going to have the opportunity to take advantage of an immersive learning project. This is a recent example that was recently completed by our music media production students. So I'm just going to show you a quick video to give you some more insight into what immersive learning looks like here at Ball State.
We're always interested in doing something with the community. The Pulley Center had a small budget. We started with attaching all the acoustic treatments. We installed the basic signal flow. The program overall is running as an immersive learning project, so it's student-driven.
Here, make a line up there. Let me show you something cool. Roll this loop back.
This is an after-school program. Basically, we just kind of teach them the ins and outs of audio production with a little bit of music theory sprinkled in.
We've gone through what the parts of a song are. We've worked on some of the rhythmic aspects. What is a beat? Why do you need a beat?
They already have just like a natural music talent and ability and like affinity for it.
I like it here because instead of us doing it by ourselves, we got somebody that can like correct us.
Working with Ali has been really great. He'll come in and he'll be like, oh, I have this song I want to show you. Like, it has this really cool part in it. Can we do something like that?
But you can play like any other white notes, but like make sure you get those too.
What we're trying to do here is just really help people express themselves.
It's really easy to just throw money at something and say, here's the gear, enjoy. But I think it was much more important that we're also out here.
The biggest impact I think is on the kids, but it's on everyone involved. Every day I realize how like lucky I am to be in the music program. It's just such a great opportunity to be a part of.
One of my goals in my future is to help people make music because some great teachers in Ball State helped me out and taught me how to do this. So I can probably teach you how to do a lot of things that you probably didn't know about. But I'm glad I got this opportunity to do this.
To see like right there in front of me that I'm making a difference. It's like, it's the best feeling ever.
So like I said, all majors do complete immersive learning projects. If you have a major in mind, don't be shy about reaching out to your future major, your academic unit, and ask, hey, what are some recent examples that your students have completed? So in terms of your actual instruction and getting to know your faculty, I do have a quick couple of facts for you. First of all, 92% of our classes are taught by our faculty. It's really rare to have a class that's taught by a graduate student at Ball State. We do have a student to faculty ratio of 14:1, and our average class size is 21. So take a minute and just think about what type of classes you're in right now in high school, and think about how many students are in your class now. You may find that the classes that you have in high school are actually really similar in size to what you have in college. We definitely do have a couple of lecture halls on our campus, but it's pretty rare to be in those classes. I came to Ball State as an out-of-state student, and my high school had a little over 4,000 students. And I remember when I got to Ball State, I thought it was really odd that my classes in college were actually smaller than what I had in high school. You may find that just kind of depends on where you're coming from. But what's important to note here is that your faculty members are going to know you. They'll know your name, and that's a really cool relationship to have because ultimately they're experts in the field that you want to pursue. Beyond your actual faculty member, there's plenty of other support to have too on campus access to. So first of all, we do one-on-one academic advising at Ball State. So the summer after you graduate from high school, you'd meet with your academic advisor, just you and your advisor, to discuss your classes for August, but also to get you on that 4-year plan so you're on a trajectory that's immediately setting you up to graduate on time. We also have a career center. How the Career Center assists you is really dependent on where you're at in your college career. Maybe your freshman year, it's helping you identify that major, and then maybe helping you find an on-campus job, and then later it becomes helping you build that resume and your first cover letter, and then finally doing things like mock interviews and helping you with an internship and job search. So that's a great resource to access. We also have a Learning Center on our campus. The Learning Center offers free tutoring in all 100, 200 level classes. So usually those classes you take your freshman and sophomore year, as well as some upperclassmen classes as well. So there's no excuse, I guess, to do poorly in college. You just have to have, I think, the self-advocacy to know when you need help and how to reach out for it. But there's plenty of help to be had at Ball State, and everyone is kind of in your corner. I think that's what I found when I came to Ball State, is I found a lot of people that were always willing to help, and that was just, I guess, assuring. So when you do come to college, we will require that you live on campus unless you're a commuter student. So commuters are students that live within 60 miles, a 60-mile radius of Muncie, and they are still living at home. Otherwise, everyone is going to be on campus with us for that first year. A lot of our students actually choose to stay on campus their first 2 years, but it's up to you. That's a conversation that you'll probably have with your family or whomever you're dependent on down the road. Whether you want to stay on campus 1 year or all 4 years, again, it's up to you. So all of our residence halls, literally every single one, has been recently renovated or is just new. And the amenities are pretty similar throughout all of the residence halls, in that they include spaces like a fitness lab, a computer lab, study and lounge spaces, just places to hang out. We want you to feel like you're at home as much as possible when you're living in a residence hall. We do have what we call living learning communities on campus. And what that means is that we group students according to your major. The reason being is we know that there's an academic benefit when you and your roommate have something in common. For instance, let's say you're a nursing major and you live in the health sciences residence hall, and maybe you're struggling with some organic chemistry homework. Chances are your roommate has that exact same major, so maybe they're a nursing student too, but someone on your floor might have that same exact lab assignment because they're in your class. That's where that natural academic advantage comes in. So again, we have 13 to choose from, and they're based off of your major. They're a lot of fun, and it's a great way to kind of bridge the gap between academics and then your social life too. And then I'll just say this, there are a couple ways to get a roommate if that's something that's making you nervous. The first way is if you know somebody that's from your high school maybe and they're coming to Ball State too, you can both request each other. But as a word of advice, we actually have more roommate conflicts with people that knew each other previously. So I know it's daunting to maybe live with somebody that you don't know, but it actually tends to work out better. The second way is that when you're applying for housing, you can search for other students, maybe that have similar interests to you or value systems or something like that, and you can request each other that way. So they're still new to you, but you found them through a search. And then finally, you can go what we call potluck, which is where the university selects for you based off of those same lifestyle questions. So they do their best to match you with somebody that's a good fit for you. So yeah, there's definitely a couple of ways to find a roommate. I know it can be a nerve-wracking experience, but it definitely tends to work out a lot better than maybe what people expect. It can be a lot of fun. As far as dining goes, that is a part of housing cost. So you'll pick your meal plan when you're registering for housing. And this, you don't need to know a ton about this other than we have several different dining halls. A lot of them are connected to a residence hall or very close to one, and they are well equipped to handle all diets. Whether you're vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, it doesn't matter. You will find great options at any one of our dining facilities. We also have chains on our campus. Popular places like Starbucks, Taco Bell, Chick-fil-A, Jamba Juice, all of those are also places on our campus that students can use their meal card for. If ever you have any concerns about dining on Ball State's campus, we do have campus nutritionists that can meet with you and really answer any of your questions and help you with whatever your needs are. Like I said earlier, you are coming to college for one reason, and that's to get that degree and ultimately go on to a really successful career. But we want you to have a lot of fun while you're on campus too. So there are over 400 student organizations to participate in, and I can almost promise you that anything that you're involved in high school, you can probably continue on with at Ball State too. So again, over 400 to choose from. They might be based off of your major. Maybe it's a faith-based organization or just a hobby and interest club. It's really up to you. We also have Greek life on our campus. There are 30 sororities and fraternities total. However, I'll say this, if Greek life isn't something that interests you, only about 14% of Ball State students join a Greek organization. So there's certainly never any peer pressure to join one. So it's an option, but we've got 400 organizations for you to choose from aside from Greek life. Ball State competes at the D1 level, so that's the most competitive athletic conference level that student athletes can compete in. So we compete in the MAC conference, if you're familiar with that. It's the Mid-American Conference, but we have 18 sports here total, and to get into any home event, it's totally free. You just show your student ID, and they're a lot of fun. Our students love basketball, baseball, football, those traditional sports. For me personally, I love going to the volleyball games. I think they don't get enough recognition that they deserve. Men's volleyball was ranked at their highest, I think like 8th nationally last year. The last home game I went to was against Harvard, and Ball State totally killed them, and it felt so good by association. So definitely go to those games. Have fun, support your fellow Cardinals. If you're an athlete now and you don't want to be just a participant, you could also look at club sports where you're traveling to other universities and playing their club teams. Or maybe you're going to play intramurals, which is just a group of people, maybe friends from your floor that you live on or something like that. And it's as competitive as you want to make it. So some people take it really seriously, other people just do it for fun. I know when I was in college, I played Battleship, which is you're in a canoe in one of our pools and you're just trying to sink somebody else's canoe before they can sink yours. Those are the fun kind of cheap things that you're going to want to participate in. We also have performance halls on our campus, so tickets are either free for students or they're reduced, so you can see Broadway shows that come through campus, performers, awesome speakers. There's always something going on. And then finally, the university puts on a lot of events too. So one that's popular amongst students is our late night event that's held every single Saturday. It's called the Best Party on Campus, and it's always free for students to participate in. We also throw a huge carnival at the end of each spring semester to celebrate the end of the academic year and our students' accomplishments. It's a ton of fun. And then we always do something called Friday Night Filmworks too, where students can head to our theater kind of space on campus and watch a new movie. So always something to do and get involved with on campus. As you're comparing colleges, one thing that you're definitely going to consider, of course, is cost, the cost of attendance. So to go over that a little bit, 80% of our students do receive some form of either financial aid or merit-based aid. The cost of attendance for Indiana residents is about $21,000 per year, and that includes your housing, any additional fees, tuition, your meal plan, all of that type of stuff. That, of course, does not take into account any scholarships you could earn or financial aid. That's just that simple sticker kind of out-of-pocket expense that some people might anticipate paying. So hopefully you've heard of the FAFSA before. But it just became available on October 1. So for my seniors that are viewing, you have between October 1, as of earlier last week, and April 15th to submit that FAFSA. And that information is based off of whomever you're dependent on. But that tells Ball State if you qualify for need-based aid. So need-based aid, it's things like grants, that's money you don't pay back, as well as loan information. And I would say, even though you have until April 15th to submit it, I think it really is in your best interest to file that earlier rather than later. So you get that financial aid award package back, and you can really compare costs apples to apples of all the schools that you've been accepted to. So if you can get it in earlier, our financial aid office will start submitting financial aid award letters to students in early January. So that's the earliest that you'll get that letter back. But it definitely, I think, does benefit you to get that kind of load off your shoulders and apply for financial aid sooner rather than later. And then finally, merit scholarships are definitely critical. So we evaluate students for merit-based scholarships at the time of admission. So your application to Ball State is your application for both acceptance into the university as well as applying for our scholarships. So there's no scholarship like application that you have to go out and hunt for. That's not how it works here. We tell you in your acceptance packet automatically what you qualify for. There is a fantastic tool on our website that we've added called the Scholarship Calculator. You can even just Google it, Ball State Scholarship Calculator, and you'll get right to it. But you can self-report your GPA and the fact that you're an Indiana resident, and it'll give you an estimate of what you're going to receive in terms of scholarship packages. And then you can also do it with your GPA and your test scores if you have those, and see if your scholarship offer changes. And that might help you too to know how you want to apply if you haven't already done so. And just as a word of advice, college is definitely costly. Most people don't have $21,000 just lying around for them to use for college expenses. And I totally understand that. So there are a few ways to cut down on the cost of college. One, if you haven't already, try to tap into your guidance counselor as a resource. See if there's anything in your community that you can apply for. That could be helpful. Also, look for opportunities to maybe work on campus. If you're familiar with this, it's called an RA, a residential assistant. It's kind of like a floor mom or floor dad. It was a tough job, but I did that starting my sophomore year at Ball State, and the university waived my room and board fee because I had that job. So that was $10,000 that was just gone off my bill. That was a huge deal for us. And then finally, at any school that you end up going to, whether it's Ball State or a different university, continue to look for scholarships from your major, because you may find that a lot of academic departments are hesitant to award scholarship money to incoming students, because the reality is that a lot of students do end up changing their majors during their time at Ball State, totally normal. But that means that they don't always want to give that funding to freshmen that are in their programs. They might reserve it for juniors, seniors. And that is when it comes in really handy to have established a good GPA, to have gone to class so that your professors know you, to have met with your advisor and that type of thing, so that you can look for those awards as you progress through college. I see a couple questions popping up. I'm gonna answer all questions at the end. I love it, keep them coming. We'll finish here in a few minutes so I can answer everybody's questions. If you haven't already applied, or if this is something that's on your horizon, let's talk about how to apply. First of all, when we're reviewing an applicant, there are a couple of factors that we look at. First and foremost, we look at your actual curriculum that you've earned. So it is critical that you have earned the Indiana, or you're in progress to earn, the Indiana Core 40 diploma. That's the minimum requirement. So that means we need to see 4 years of English and then 3 years of math, science, and social studies completed. We would, in an ideal circumstance, prefer to see that academic honors diploma. So that means that you're on track to earn a 4th year of math, as well as 3 years of a foreign language. About 75% of Ball States do come in with that academic honors diploma. So looking at that curriculum, looking at the rigor of your classes, how have you done in that, in those core classes, looking at your overall weighted GPA is important. And we also look at recent grade trends. So while your cumulative GPA from all of high school is definitely critical in our process, we're also looking at your most recent grades. What was junior year like? Are you on a positive trajectory, or are there some maybe red flags in your most recent grades? That's something that we're also going to consider. To just kind of let you know what our average student profile is, our average student has about a 3.52 GPA on a 4.0 scale. The average SAT for last year was an 1160, and the average ACT was a 23. That's just that average. So don't let that those numbers maybe scare you or prevent you from applying. There's a big spectrum that our students come in with. So again, that's just simply our average. You will need to, of course, apply for admission on our website. If you're using the Common App for other universities, we are not on the Common App. We just use our own application service. So you will just have to head to our to our website to submit that application. We will need your official transcript. That's not something that you yourselves can send to us. It has to be sent from your high school. So high schools have the option of either mailing it to us or using an electronic delivery service called Parchment that your guidance counselor is probably really familiar with. But that's something that needs to be sent to us. And then you can choose to send us your SAT or ACT scores if you have them. So Ball State is actually test optional. On our application, you'll have to indicate whether or not you want to apply with test scores or without. So it's totally up to you. I know test access has probably been a problem over the course of the last few months. So if you don't have your SAT or ACT scores and you still want to apply, that's okay. You're going to be equally considered for scholarships and for admission, even if you haven't taken your test. If you do have your test scores and you're wondering if you should submit them, think about those averages I just said and where you fall kind of according to those averages. If you think your test scores are a great testament to what it is you're capable of and you're proud of them, by all means, have them submitted. Alternatively, if you think the rigor of your classes and your GPA is a better indication of what you're capable of, then don't feel like you have to have them sent. It's really up to you. And again, I would say use that scholarship calculator to maybe inform you. If you get a scholarship one way using that calculator and not another way, that can tell you kind of how is best to apply, if that makes sense. Finally, we don't require essays or letters of recommendation or personal statements, but they can be really helpful to us in some scenarios. So you're more than welcome to submit those types of materials as part of your application process, even though it's not required. Finally, some of our majors, like architecture majors, fine and performing arts, have a second step, whether it's an audition or a portfolio. So just know that that may be part of your application too, dependent on the major that you're selecting. And then finally, we ask for about 4 to 6 weeks to make our decision. So bear with us. I know it's probably painful as you're waiting for those decisions to come back, but bear with us. We're just trying to make the best decision possible. We notify students in your email as well as at the address that's provided on your application, your mailing address, what that admissions decision is. And finally, we operate on a rolling admission basis, meaning we are continuously reviewing applications. We don't have like an early action deadline or something like that that you may have heard of elsewhere. But I will say that to be considered for all scholarships that we do have, it is in your best interest to submit that application by December 1st. That being said, if you apply after December, you're still going to be reviewed for admission, but I would encourage you to apply sooner rather than later. So that wraps up the presentation. It's pretty short and sweet. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here to answer anyone's questions, and here we go. Okay, so I was asked, is that annual cost of attendance, is that for the year? So that $21,000 cost. Yes, that's a great question. That is for each year that you're attending Ball State. So think about it like this. If you are attending Ball State for 4 years to get that bachelor's degree, you're paying that $21,000 4 times. So realistically, a college degree is a little over $80,000 to earn without any type of scholarships or financial aid taken into consideration. Another question I got asked is, are you considered for merit scholarships after you're accepted? So great question. Yeah, so we will evaluate you for merit-based scholarships when you are accepted. So we'll look at that GPA that's provided, test scores that are provided, and determine if you qualify for one of our awards. Indiana residents can receive up to $5,500 a year in merit-based scholarships. That's our top award. Beyond that, the only other scholarships that we have are through our academic units. So for instance, if you are applying to the Honors College, they have some competitive scholarships that students can compete for. Those are other awards that students can be eligible for, as well as scholarships through their academic unit. But for the most part, most merit-based scholarships come from the Office of Admissions, and we'll tell you what you qualify for once you're accepted. Hope that answers your question, but let me know if it doesn't. And then another great question, are you conducting in-person campus visits, and how do you schedule one? Good question. So absolutely, we do have some on-campus visits, but they are a little bit different in nature right now. So we're still doing tours, but they're really limited. So you can head to our website. If you just even search like Google Ball State Campus Visit, there's limited openings at this point. We are going to reopen visits for the spring semester. So starting December 1st, that's when you can register for visits this spring. We also have self-guided tour options. So if you're just looking to come to Muncie, kind of see if you can envision yourself on Ball State's campus, check out the local community. You can also do one of our self-guided tours where you can listen to audio as you're walking around on campus. That's definitely an option too. And then there are also academic appointments right now with all of our majors. So if you want to meet with somebody within your major, whether it's a faculty member, academic advisor, you can schedule those on our admissions website too. And there's also housing tours. We do have some in-person opportunities. For the most part, they're virtual right now. So another question coming in, let's see here. Are in-person tours limited to seniors? That's a good question. Yes, we have really tried to limit those and advertise those to our seniors only for the fall. But with spring, we're hoping to open those up to other students as well. So more to come on that. Another question is, due to COVID, does that limit the amount of students in one hall? Great question. So our students were able to select this year if they wanted a single room in a way that we have not offered that previously. Luckily, we had brand new residence halls that were opening this fall. So we were able to accommodate that way better than we would have previously, and we're really grateful to have awesome new residence halls on our campus. So some of our students still have a roommate, but those that wanted a single room could request one. Great question here. What is the acceptance rate for admission? So we accept about 65% of all applicants, just in case you were curious. And another fantastic question, gosh, you guys are awesome, is what if your GPA or SAT scores improve? That's an awesome question. So we continuously evaluate students for new scholarships even after they're admitted. So let's say you apply today, you're accepted in a few weeks, but then your grades come out after the first semester and your GPA has improved slightly, and maybe you have SAT scores back now. Send us that information. You don't need to reapply. You don't need to submit an appeal. Anytime that we receive new academic information, we automatically reevaluate you for new scholarships. Awesome question. So keep that information coming. We continue to update our scholarship packages through the summer after you graduate. So you could even take the SAT and ACT after you graduated and be considered for new awards potentially. Hopefully that answers your question. And then one last question to clarify the cost of attendance. Yes, that $21,000 is our annual cost, so that would be what you would pay for the fall and spring semester to attend Ball State, and that would be, for instance, just for your freshman year, that $21,000, and then you would have another $21,000 that would be then due for your sophomore year, okay, and so on and so forth. All right, we have, it looks like just one more minute, basically, that flew. Does anyone else have any other questions? If not, our email is askus@bsu.edu. If you think of something in the next few minutes, and we'll get to those questions tomorrow if you email us. I'm so glad you joined us, particularly because we had some tech issues in the beginning. So thank you for hanging with me. I really enjoyed this time and getting to answer your questions. And again, love talking about Ball State, love talking to prospective students, and I hope I see you on campus soon or hear from you virtually. All right, and I think we're done.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Brooke, for telling us all about Ball State, and thank you for attending this virtual college exploration with Ball State. Once you click out of this session, please answer a very quick 4-question survey, and then sign up for more sessions in this virtual college exploration. Thank you very much, and have a good evening. Okay. Okay, thank you, Brooke. Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.